Maharet and Mekare, the curse that created vampires. These are the witches who cursed a queen and created a curse that would last forever. Picture a blood-soaked throne room. A once mighty queen lies dead, and in her place stands a woman who has not spoken in thousands of years. Her mouth stolen, her body ruined, her soul burning. She does not speak now either. She simply devours the queen's heart and brain and becomes the new heart of all vampire kind. But how did we get here? Long before pharaohs, before Rome. There was a land lost to time, something between Mesopotamia and myth. And in that land lived two sisters, Maharet and Mekare. They were witches, not the broomstick kind, but real ones, seer priestesses with fire-colored hair and a gift that frightened even kings. They could speak to spirits. One spirit in particular kept returning, a disembodied entity called Amel, curious, chaotic, watching. As a result, their fame spread beyond borders and into the ears of Egypt's most dangerous queen. Akasha, Queen of Kemet, was no ordinary monarch. She ruled beside her king, Enkil, and sought not just power, but divinity. So when she heard whispers of two spirit-speaking twins, she summoned them, not as guests, but as tools. She wanted control over death itself. She wanted Amel. But when the sisters refused to bend the knee, Akasha responded not with diplomacy, but with desecration. Their entire village was razed, their families slaughtered. Maharet was beaten, her left eye gouged, and Mekare was violently assaulted, her tongue removed so she could never again curse the crown with words. Yet despite this, as they were dragged from the palace in chains, Mekare cursed the queen anyway, not with her mouth, but through the spirits. One day, your blood will not be yours. It will belong to death. The spirit Amel had grown attached, not to Akasha, but to Mekare. So when Akasha was mortally wounded, stabbed during an assassination attempt, Amel didn't just watch. He possessed her. Consequently, Akasha rose again, as something new, undead, radiant, starved, the first vampire. And in an act of cruel irony, she turned the very twins she had mutilated into monsters like herself. Maharet and Mekare became the second and third vampires to ever walk the earth. But the twins were torn apart. Maharet survived by adapting. She hunted only what she had to. She preserved the human bloodline of her daughter, generation by generation, building what would one day be known as the Great Family, a mortal legacy spanning continents, her way of clinging to humanity. Mekare, however, descended into madness. Banished, alone, her mind fractured, but her fury remained whole. Meanwhile, other vampires were created. Khayman, a palace official who tried to protect the twins, was made immortal against his will. He would carry the guilt of that night for millennia. Centuries passed. Civilizations rose and fell, and deep beneath the earth, Akasha slumbered, until the modern world disturbed her. She awoke, changed, colder, hungrier. She envisioned a world ruled by vampires, with herself as goddess empress. And humanity? She saw it as a disease to be cleansed. So she began the slaughter. Entire covens were destroyed. Yet Maharet refused to flee. She gathered ancient ones, defenders, and her descendants to resist the tide. But it was Mekare, silent and spectral, who returned at the final hour. No longer lost, no longer mad, She walked into the sunlit court where Akasha reigned, and without a word, tore out the queen's heart and consumed it. Thus, Amel passed from Akasha into Mekare, and the cycle began anew. Maharet and Mekare are not just founders of the bloodline, they are trauma made immortal. Maharet shows us that memory, painful, enduring, generational, can be a tether to what's right. Mekare reminds us that rage, unspoken, ancient, righteous, can reshape the world. Their story is not about power, it's about the scars that shaped it. It's about vengeance, silence, survival, and the kind of sisterhood that outlasts empires. The vampire race was not born of love or accident. It was born of cruelty, blood, and a spirit who chose wrong over right. But what of Khayman, the kind-hearted man turned monster, cursed to wander forever? His fate intertwines with the twins in ways even they could never predict. That story, too, is waiting in the dark. For now, remember this. The greatest myths are not born of heroes, but of survivors. And the oldest vampires were once two sisters, screaming in silence, who remade the world without a single word.